just started the show not so long ago. This is like I guess our third episode now.
Fifth.
Our fifth episode, my wife said.
Where is, man? Just excited to be part of it. So yeah, it's going to be cool.
This is Mew Dog.
Nice to meet you.
Now we have the whole family. John, welcome to our show. Today we are the host. I am Ankita. John, to mainly learn more about you, your story, the struggles that you have been through while running your business, and also know more about how were you able to generate over $1 million in sales revenue. So
we're trying to help these fucking brokies on Facebook realize that not everybody that is a millionaire is a fucking super genius, or that, you know, pretty much everybody that's a millionaire or beyond that is a person. They have a story, and they're not like so different, and they haven't done this magical shit. They've done, you can, after enough people, you can look and see these are the kind of the things that they've done.
Tell us about your story. How did you start? When did you decide that you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to start with the floor cleaning industry that you are in right now?
You're in the floor cleaning industry, so you make millions of dollars cleaning floors?
No,
I run a marketing agency that generates leads for the floor cleaning industry.
Okay.
That's why. So I'll tell you my story. It's a pretty cool story. It's pretty inspiring. Most people that have heard it, it's really taken people back a little bit, and they've been like, wow, okay, that's pretty emotional. So I'll share it with your audience and you guys, and hopefully you'll get some value out of it as well. So I'm 42 years old right now. And I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 38. I'm based in London, UK, and I grew up in the UK my whole life. And for 20 years, I used to work in like a corporate office in an engineering company, doing technical drawings. I had like a 20+ career in that industry. And in the beginning, when I was like young, when I was like 18, 20 or whatever, it was a pretty good job. And a lot of my friends were just like, at that time, just like working in McDonald's on the weekend. I had an office job. I was earning more money than them. It was pretty cool. And over the next 20 years, I kind of climbed the ladder of that career, and I got to the top. And once I got to the top, I kind of realized this is it for me. You know, I'm going to be doing this now until I'm 65, 75, until I have to retire. And I'd reached the peak of how much I could possibly earn in that career. And the money, it was okay, but it wasn't amazing. I was never going to be able to afford to buy my own property in London, for example, on that wage, on that money. And, you know, I reached that point in my life where I was just like, you know, I need to do something different. This can't be it now. This cannot be it forever. No way. But what really fueled the fire was that it was a really high pressure environment. And some of the people that I was working with in the office, they were really toxic, really nasty pieces of work, real bullies. And it reached that point where I was so anxious to go into the office. I was having panic attacks. I really just didn't know like what I just dreaded going into work every single day. And I got sick of having to ask permission to take a day off to go to the dentist, or, you know, having to like check to make sure somebody else isn't on vacation if you wanted to take a vacation, and earning not great money and dealing with people that I didn't like. And I thought, I've got to change something about my life. This can't be it forever. And so I started to think about a career change, and I realized to kind of go back to college or university in my late 30s, it just wasn't going to happen. I didn't have the money to do that. It's expensive to do. And then if I did do it and I started a new career, I'd have to start at the bottom. I'd be competing with kids half my age. I would be getting way less money than I currently do. So to start a new career in the traditional sense really wasn't on the radar either. And I was massively depressed. And I really didn't know, you know, what to do. And honestly, I just felt I was in a real bad way. And so I started to then explore how to make money online and online options. And I toyed with the idea of like, you know, selling 1 million iPhone cases on Amazon or something stupid like that. And that really didn't appeal to me that much, to be brutally honest. I kept looking for ideas and options. And then I finally came across the business model of a marketing agency. And it made total sense to me that local businesses would pay someone every single month to do their Google ads or their Facebook ads for them. It made sense to me that, say, for example, a dentist, a guy that's really good with his hands, great at fixing teeth, might not be that great with computers. So he would be happy to pay someone to do his marketing. That made sense to me. And I understood that dentists, for example, in the States and in the UK, they make a lot of money. So they could easily pay somebody like me a couple of $1,000s a month to do it, especially if we got results. And I started to add that up and I thought, you know what, like if you just got 20 clients, 20 people, 20 local businesses paying you to do their advertising, that would be more money in 1 month than I would earn in a year in my old job. And I was just like, oh my God, this makes total sense to me. And there's no overheads. I need a laptop. That's it. It's super learnable. So I started to go on the journey and I started to try and learn everything I possibly could online. I invested money in courses and masterclasses and programs and stuff like that. Got my first website up and Facebook business page up in like April 2018. And started hunting for clients. I was terrible at sales, by the way. I sucked. I was like the worst ever. It took me 6 months of trying for somebody to say yes and pay me money for my marketing services. And the first person that I ever closed was a woman that had a drop shipping store in America. She had she was selling like online goods, like an e-commerce store. Not what I intended to do, but she agreed to pay me $1,000 or whatever. And to get $1,000 in PayPal at that time, it just blew my mind. I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like somebody just paid me $1,000 and they're the other side of the world. This is mind blowing. It's so cool. And I had that first client and it sucked so bad. After 3 months of paying me, she sold one thing. It was terrible. And so I went back to the drawing board and I realized that, you know what, like I didn't get into this to get into e-commerce. My thing was really about helping local businesses. So I started to realign and get back on the path that I'd originally kind of set out to do. And around this time, chatbots, ManyChat and stuff like that started to become really, really popular. And I figured that hooking up Facebook ads to a chatbot for service-based businesses like carpet cleaners could be a game changer, because a lot of these people, they're out on the road, they're in people's homes cleaning carpets. They don't have time to go home and look at a spreadsheet with leads on and sit there calling them on the phone. Imagine if I could connect these potential customers with the carpet cleaning business, with the floor cleaning business instantly in Messenger. So wherever they are, if they're on the road, in the home, doing the job, wherever they are, they can instantly be connected with a potential customer, have a conversation and get them scheduled in. And I thought that would be great. So I set out about getting my first carpet cleaning client. And one of the first guys that I actually signed up was a guy that was a franchisee of one of the biggest carpet cleaning franchises in America. And he said to me, he said, listen, John, if this goes well, I can easily send you so many referrals, easily. So I was like, okay, cool. So I signed him up really cheap because I just wanted to get this deal through the door. Signed him up super cheap, worked my butt off for a month, figured it out, got him amazing results. And the following month, it was his franchise expo, and there were 400 locations there. And he's walking around and there's all these different vendors and stuff like that selling their different services. And his mobile phone is going off all the time. And people are going, what's that, man? Like, what is that? Like, oh, that's a guy that I'm working with from London, UK. These are jobs that are coming in on my phone. And people are like, wow, that's amazing. How do we contact this guy? We want to sign him too. And so what happened was, I had the whole floor of a Hilton hotel in America, and each room was a carpet cleaner, and they were waiting in the waiting room to get on Zoom and sign up with me. And I think over the course of like one day, I think I did like 20 hours of sales calls, no sleep, signed 20 clients. And on the following Monday, I went into my office at my old job and I went, screw you, I quit, see you later, I absolutely hate you, I'm gonna go and make $1 million, goodbye.
Now,
And so I then, yeah,
are you lying here? Are you lying here, or did you like physically go in? Did you physically do this? Did you like literally go in and
Fuck
say,
you.
yeah, man, like
screw
I
you?
literally walked out. I literally walked out of the job and said, that's it, I've had enough, screw you, goodbye, that's it. Because I was having anxiety and panic attacks going into the office. And I was done. Like I was done like 2 years previously. So that happened.
How'd that feel?
It was the most incredible feeling of my whole entire life. And then I went out in the evening and I got completely wasted. And then like I woke up on Monday morning and I was like, oh shit, like I've got rent to pay next month. I better make this work now. I quit the job, right? So yeah, that was it, man. And then fast forward, that was in 2019, about summer 2019 when that happened, when I quit my day job. Fast forward to today, we work with over 250 floor cleaners across the world, the majority of which are in America. We've got over 20 employees. To date, we've done about, in the last couple of years, over 3.5 million. This year, in particular, did 1.8 million in revenue. We've got a 40% profit margin on that. And through me doing this, where I'm sat right now, I just bought my first penthouse apartment in London cash, which I just moved into a month ago. So that's kind of my story.
That's actually pretty impressive. Basically, you did not know anything about marketing or sales. You were unhappy in your job.
That's nothing special. That's like fucking almost virtually every motherfucker that exists right now is probably going to some job and they're not really happy about it. They don't wake up and jump out of bed. It's like, yay, I get to go to. There could be some people like that. I would say the majority of people are like, if their job offered them, look, we'll keep paying you money, but you don't have to come to work anymore. You don't have to do your job anymore. Very few people, I think, love their job so much.
Understood that he was not happy and he knew that where he had to be, he had some dreams, he had some goals in his life.
So the understanding I'm not happy, not so special. Most motherfuckers also understand that.
Yes.
The big determining factor is like, okay, I think where we start veering off from the average everyday motherfucker, once they realize, okay, I got this job, I'm, you know, making ends meet, barely making ends meet, maybe even making enough to have a comfortable life, but I'm not really actually happy. I realize I'm unhappy. A lot of people in there, you know, we start deviating now and start going into a select group of people who are like, who now take the time to figure out, well, what can I do about this? That they themselves have decided, well, I'm in control of my own life. There should be some steps that I can take to change this, all right?
The biggest issue in society is that people are too accepting of their circumstances, and that's it. And people don't understand that they're in control of their own destiny. People think that they've just been dealt like a bad hand in life, that they were unlucky, and they just accept, well, this is my life, this is my job, and that's it. And they just accept what's given to them. And they don't realize that actually, you know what, you can do anything that you want if you put your mind to it and if you put the effort in. And I think the other factor as well is fear. You know, I think the reason why a lot of people don't do what I do, what you guys do, is because they're scared, right? They're scared of people like security and safety, and people think that having a job is a safety net, is security, when it's not really. We know that, but a lot of people don't. And I think
because your boss can't fire you at any time for any reason.
I think that many people realize when they're actually doing a job, they're unhappy and they have to do things to get out of the situation that they're in. But the minute that they understand, oh, they have to do a lot of work to get there, that actually scares them off.
That's another filter, you know. I think John's really correct when he said a lot of people are still, unfortunately, in the mentality that I don't have control, that I don't create the universe, I don't own the universe, I am just a byproduct of a system. system and I don't control my own destiny. So I think most people sit in that subset. Now, people do deviate from that subset and they're like, okay, hey, I control my own destiny.
Right.
But then again, we get into another filter, which is what you're saying, where it's like, okay, now people have, they've got into this bucket of, okay, hey, I control my own destiny, but okay, now of those people, how many people are actually willing to look and even find out, well, what else could I do? What are my other options? Well, a lot of people, they don't ever go any farther than, well, I control my own destiny, but fuck it. Now, some people, they start to look at their options and see, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do literally anything that I wanted. And then we get another filter where it's like, yes, you could, but will you? And then they're like, okay, well, I'm going to have to do all this. And whenever it comes down to the doing, a lot of people fizzle out and they're like, well, it's just easier to not do.
Yeah, it's like I would rather die broke and unhappy than just doing it and taking control of my own destiny.
There's a lot of people in this world that are comfortable. And because they're comfortable and they're not in a place of pain, they're very accepting of their circumstances. They don't take any necessary steps. And by comfortable, I mean, yeah, you know what? You might have like an okay job. Your boss might be okay. And you might earn like okay money. And it's enough to pay your mortgage on your house. It's enough that you've got a car on the drive. And maybe you have like one vacation a year and you're not hungry. You're not super rich. You're not super poor. You're just average. You're just okay, you know. And people are get very comfortable in this life. And when you get comfortable, you get complacent and you just don't have that motivation to get off your butt and like do something amazing. And I think probably helped me was that I was in such a place of pain. I was in such a place of desperation that I had to do something. It wasn't, I absolutely had to. Like I literally would dread going to work every day. I hated it. And so because I was in such a point of pain, that really pushed me to actually keep going, keep trying, and keep getting back off the floor every time I fell off and fell over, and every time I failed, keep trying and trying and trying again. And if anybody that's watching this wants a piece of advice, I would say try and like find your pain point, find like the thing, like, and some people have to dig deep, right? But like find that thing, that place of pain, and see if you can lean into that to give you the motivation that you need and the energy that you need to move the needle forward and do something big in your life, for sure.
I really appreciate you saying that. I think this is where, I'm not really religious, but I think this is where the Buddhist philosophy really gets it, which is, you know, this seek discomfort. You know, like I have a saying, and actually when I started writing my book, the title of my book, one of my books is called Eat Shit. And the reason that it's called Eat Shit is because it's like, okay, hey, if I give you some nasty food that you don't like,
eggs,
all right? So let's say I say, hey, here's some eggs. And you're like, nah, I hate eggs. I can't eat eggs. Okay, well, eat shit.
Eat shit,
Eat some
and
shit.
then eat the egg.
You know, spend the next 7 days eating shit. Go towards pain, seek discomfort. And then all of a sudden what will happen is you'll fucking love eggs. I'll come back and say, hey, you want some eggs? And you'll be like, fuck yeah. Give me those fucking eggs. Why? Because I've been eating shit, and shit's way worse. So it's like, and this is where I think the Buddhists really get it correct in this mentality where they're like, okay, hey, you have a problem sleeping on the floor on a little mat? Go lay on the bed of nails. Go sleep on the bed of nails. And after you spend 3 hours on the bed of nails, when you come back to your little mat on the floor, this is going to be, now you're going to have gratitude. And now you're going to be like, okay, hey, wow, this is actually great, because it's relative. So it's kind of like the same thing. I think, you know, almost everybody that finds what we would consider financial success and finds it, or not just financial success, I also think internal happiness and internal success. On the financial side, if they haven't just been, you know, I don't want to say lucky, but through some actual product where they were just born into a family that actually has money, so a certain amount of financial success has already been set up for them. Even those people aren't necessarily born with internal happiness, but I think the people who find financial success on their own through, you know, from scratch, and the people that find internal happiness are people who have all, whether they just said, you know what, I'm going to run towards pain and I'm going to seek out pain, I'm going to seek out, they've either sought that shit out, or the universe has said, you know what, have a bunch of this shit, and the universe has just given it to them. And it's through that pain that It's through that pain, because you probably can contest to this. And running a business, there's probably a lot of shit still that you're not super excited about doing. And to get to where you're at, there you probably had to do a bunch of shit that you kind of felt, well, this is just kind of like my last job. I'm still doing shit that I don't want to do.
That being said, you know, once I'd sort of like lost, I broke free of the 9-to-5 job and the corporate lifestyle. Like even like the real boring stuff was an absolute joy compared to what I used to do, for sure. But of course, you know, I think that's like the other really important thing that people don't realize. Yeah, like it's not, you know, people don't just get like successful overnight. It takes years, and it takes a lot of hard work, and you have to do stuff that you don't necessarily enjoy, and you probably are going to fail. And there's going to be a few times when you want to put your fist through the window and you want to scream and shout, and the shit hits the fan. And yeah, it feels like the world's ending. And it's the people that are consistent every single day, that keep getting back on the horse every time they get knocked off, that are persistent, that just don't give up, that just continue going, that continue to grind and hustle and put the work in. People like you guys, which is why I really rate you guys, and why I'm really honored to be on this show. I've been following you guys for years now on the sidelines, and I see how much effort, especially your wife here, puts in on the content and all the rest of it. It's incredible to see, and it's really inspiring. Anybody watching this, you know, should take a good look at these guys, because I know that you guys have been going for a good few years, and you're still at it, and you're still chipping away at it, and you're still doing the work. I know now it's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning in India, right? And you're up and you're doing this video, right? And that's what it takes. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Real fucking funny thing, and I appreciate you saying that, you're going to be broke regardless. Exactly. Whether you start your own company and do your own thing, or you work for that motherfucker, you're going to be broke. You're going to do shit that you don't want to do regardless. You're going to be unhappy regardless. Shit's going to hit the fucking fan regardless. You're going to go into work and fucking some shit beyond your control. The boss is going to yell at you and threaten to fucking fire you anyways. You're going to have your outstanding mortgage payment wondering how the fuck you're going to pay that shit regardless. Either way, you're going to actually run into that.
About being an entrepreneur as well, though, is that in terms of what you're talking about, the most amazing thing that I learned was, the best thing about it was, when you're the boss, you're in control. Nobody can screw it up for you. And as long as you're showing up every day and doing what you need to do, then like happy days. Whereas when you've got a job, you're relying on other people to do their job properly. Like I got made redundant. I got laid off for multiple jobs over that 20-year period. And I look back now, and we live in this society where your parents will tell you, go to school, go to university, go to college, get a career, get a job, get security in your life. And I look at that now, and I just think to myself, it's the biggest pile of crap ever. Having a job in a company is probably the most unsecure thing that you could ever do, because you're relying on that CEO, on that business owner being a good business person, doing their job properly, and everybody else doing their job properly. Your future, your life relies on other people. Whereas when you're in charge, you're in control of everything. So your success is all in your hands. Yeah. And as long as you're prepared to do your thing, you can absolutely make it happen. You're not relying on anybody else.
It may or it may not. But see, the thing is, when you're a business owner and you're an entrepreneur, you control everything 100%. So there's no one else that can fuck it up but you. But see, on the other hand, if you're not, well, you're still in the same boat, except for there's other motherfuckers that can also fuck it up. So you could fuck everything up on your own. You could go into work drunk and get fucking fired instantly, done. So you can still fuck up your own life, but now there's also a list of other motherfuckers that can also fuck it up for you.
Better to be an entrepreneur and better to be your own boss, right? If you're gonna, if these things are gonna happen, better to be have as much of control over the situation as you possibly can, right? And be your own boss. And for me, there's more job security in being an entrepreneur, because you're in control, than there is of having a regular 9-to-5 job and being an employee, for sure, all day long.
Even if you are not an entrepreneur and working at a job, you should believe in that you're still in your control, because it's your own life and it's your own fucking destiny that you need to control.
So you're basically offering now done for you marketing services on like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, copy, setting up the actual campaign, content for the whole sales process as far as, marketing and getting the attention and then capturing the leads and nurturing through the sale. You're helping that entire process. And then you basically are specializing just for people who run agencies that clean floors.
Floor cleaning businesses, yeah, like carpet cleaners, pressure washers, tile cleaners, all of those guys, those service-based business owners, those guys that are great cleaning carpets, they're great with their hands. A lot of these are older dudes as well and not that great with computers. So we come on in, they pay us a couple of $1,000. We do everything for them. All they need to do is talk to the customer in Messenger, get them scheduled in, turn up, do the work and get paid. And we do all the advertising, all the marketing for them, and that's it. And typically, like guys that have been working with us, like first month, they'll make $5 or $6 grand. 2 or 3 months into it, they'll be doing $10,000 to $15,000 a month for that program. So pretty awesome stuff.
But do you also like teach people or have like a coaching program where you train people how to basically do the same thing?
Absolutely. So like obviously with me being in the marketing agency sort of vertical, there are a number of other agency owners, marketers and stuff like that I've done one-on-one mentorship with. I'm doing a 6-week coaching program at the moment with a few people. There's a guy, do you know Jeff Miller? He's
he runs Butt Cheeks.
Agency guru kind of guy in his sort of inner circle.
Don't he run the Butt Cheeks group?
That's the one. So in his like paid program, he's got me in as like a special guest. He's paying me to do 6 weeks of coaching inside there to help other agency owners with retention, sales, marketing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and just last year I had a couple of people come in to do one-on-one mentoring with me where kind of like once a week we'll do like a 90-minute, 2-hour Zoom call. We'll cover pretty much anything that they need in terms of taking things to that next level over a 6-week period. So yeah, I do a bit of coaching, a bit of teaching. But the main thing is, of course, the actual agency. That's kind of like the bread and butter where most of the income comes from.
So John, was there a time when you were running this business and you were obviously going through the whole process of, from learning to implementing and helping other business owners? So was there a time in your business where you felt this is it, you don't want to do this, shit hit the fan and you just want to quit and just get out of this and maybe get back to the job that you had?
There's been times before like where we've had like problems and stuff like that. So for example, like in 2020, Facebook did some changes and suddenly like all of our ads inside the Facebook manager would just stop working. There was loads of errors. It was right before Christmas. It completely sucked. We lost half our clients at that time and it was a nightmare. And yes, it was like very stressful. But that being said, and I don't know whether it's just me and my personality, I've never felt like I've never ever, since I've been doing this, ever felt like I wanted to quit. And I've certainly never felt like I wanted to go and get like a job again in an office or be an employee. I think once you've had that taste of freedom, once you start to live life on your own terms, the idea of being under somebody else's control, that's just uncomprehendable to me. That just like no way. So for me, when the shit hits the fan or things go wrong, quit isn't even in my vocabulary. It's figure it out, sort it out. And if like this business disappeared, touch wood, it didn't happen, like I would start another business immediately. I'd start something new, but I certainly wouldn't ever consider going back to doing what I did before. No way.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah,
it's
that's the speed of an entrepreneur.
That's exactly like, I never feel like, hey, I'm going to quit and go get a job for someone else. There are many times where I feel like, either I'm going to close this business down and then just basically open up a business and start building nuclear weapons and start building, like there's many times where I just think, you know what, I have the brain power where if I wanted to just go build weapons, I just build weapons and I just start selling weapons to motherfuckers, make a lot more weapons and get rid of a lot of people. But I never think like, hey, I'm going to go work for somebody else and get a job again.
If you actually do that, John, hit me up, man. I'll happily do the marketing on that for your nuclear weapons. We'll come up with a good campaign. We'll sell loads of weaponry. it'll be awesome, man. Like
It's
cool.
crazy to think about that though, right? It's crazy to think about, like, right now there are people, and that's literally what they're doing. They're coming up with marketing campaigns for the most powerful nuclear missile that's ever actually been created, that will kill the most amount of actual people, or all sorts of other very harmful shit. Someone's like, hey, yeah,
and the thing is,
I'll help you sell that.
And the thing is, right now with the blockchain technology, it can, like, all the funds and everything can be transferred without people like knowing from where it's coming and where it's going. It's like crazy.
If you were to have to come up with some bullshit checklist, I want to become you. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be my own boss. Like, if there is some step-by-step checklist blueprint of, okay, hey, how to go from where you're at today at 0 to making over $1 million, what do you think that would be?
I think first of all, like, I would suggest that you sit down and like have a real think about and do some research into, you know, what you want to do and like what that looks like, and like having some kind of idea about that. Now, that could be leaning into something that you're passionate about, but it doesn't have to be. Like, trust me, I'm not passionate about floor cleaning or cleaning people's carpets. It's just something that I kind of stumbled on, and it kind of worked and we ran with it. But it could be something that you're passionate about. Alternatively, just, you know, do your research online and look at what online opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities there are. So I know that, for example, with Tier 5, there's an opportunity for people if they want to make money online and stuff, using your software, selling it, reselling it, and all that cool stuff. Other ways, teaching online. Maybe you're really good at a certain thing and you can teach other people how to do that. You can make a course. You can do one-on-one coaching, marketing agency. There's 1,000,001 ways that you can make money online these days. So the first thing would be to kind of like identify really like what you're into, or like what you think would be a good fit for you, and kind of get a feel for that. Once you've kind of got that in place, like, learn as much as you can. Invest in yourself if you've got money and you can afford it, and, you know, there's some paid courses out there. Do that, because that's really going to shorten the learning curve from sort of like A to B. It's going to get you there quicker. And then it's one of the things that I found, it's about learning how to use your time effectively. It's really important that you really get a handle on like leveraging time. So like when I was started out, I had a full-time job. So how am I going to get a business off the ground, learn how to do all this stuff while working 7 hours a day? I was in a relationship at the time, so on and so forth. And so what I used to do, it used to be a 1-hour bus journey to the office. So on that bus, headphones on my phone, YouTube, learning, making notes, figuring stuff out. And then I'd have an hour lunch break. I'd be doing the same then. I'd have an hour home on the bus. That's 3 hours. I'd get up an hour or two earlier. That was another couple of hours each day. And then I'd do another couple of 2 or 3 hours once I got home from work. So I was effectively able to cram an extra 8 hours a day by using my time effectively, by finding little pockets of time where I could do bits of work. And it was through that I was able, and doing it consistently every day, that I was able to actually start to like piece this thing together and learn and kind of get it off the ground. So that would be another piece of advice. Another piece of advice I would say, which is really important, is in terms of like mindset, embrace the journey. Like, absolutely fall in love with the entrepreneurial journey. Even when things go wrong, even when you can't figure things out, really, truly love it. It took me half a year to get my first sale, 6 months. And you know what? I loved every minute of that 6 months. It was the most enjoyable thing ever, because I was learning new skills every day. I was learning sales. I was learning marketing. I was learning prospecting. And it was so much fun. And I felt like for the first time, I was doing something for me, and it felt good. And every time it didn't work, it was just more of a challenge for me to go out there and kind of figure it out. It was like playing a video game, you know, when you want to beat the boss at the end of the level. You know, I just need to get to the next stage, and I enjoyed it, and it was amazing. So like when things like go wrong, or, you know, the fact that it's not going to happen overnight, it might take you like months, years to really get there. I mean, I started in 2018. It's 2023 now. And only last month did I buy my first property. You know, it's 5 years it's taken to get to this point. So as long as you have that mindset that it's a marathon, not a race, and you really embrace that journey and you enjoy it, the failures, the hard times, the good times, you just enjoy all of it. And you have that attitude towards it. And if you show up every day consistently over time, that effort will compound, and that the compound effect, eventually you'll start to get momentum. Things will start to click. Things are going to start to fall into place. You're going to start to get some traction. And when that happens, that's when the magic happens. And then once you've got that foot in the door, once you've got that first customer, those first 3 or 4 customers, once you've had that first little bit of success, everything starts to fall into place and everything starts to become a lot easier. So those would be like my pieces of advice for anybody watching this.
Awesome that you said that, because it really, some people may not know this because they don't understand Marketers Anonymous and stuff. A big piece of what you said, basically plan. All right, yes, exactly. Basically plan. Yes, look to information, do some information gathering and some planning. Then do some learning and investing with your time, with your money. Then make sure that you're consistently being as productive as you can and actually manage your time. All right. Then basically, to some extent,
just keep doing it every day
and fix your mind. Right. So like for me and my little 12-step program for Marketers Anonymous or Millionaires Anonymous, it's kind of the same, except for we take this last one and we kind of shove it at the beginning and we're like, okay, hey, first come to the realization that your mindset is fucked up. And because you have a fucked up mindset, that's why your life is fucked up and that's why you're actually unhappy. So let's first come to that actual realization. Then after we come to that realization, and it doesn't matter even, and I come to this realization every single fucking day as a millionaire. Every single day I come to a realization that my mindset is still fucked up, that I have a fucked up mindset. And the reason that I haven't attained all the things that I want and reached all the goals that I want is because my mindset is still fucked up. But there is a higher mindset and a better mindset that I could attain if I wanted to actually attain that. And the only reason I have not obtained that is because I have decided not to. I have decided not to actually have that mindset yet. So I could actually change that. And then, okay, hey, because once you accept this, and this is kind of going to your, okay, embrace the journey, come to this actual mindset that, okay, hey, things may suck, but the only reason anything sucks is because in my mind, I've decided to tell myself, hey, this sucks. Oh, I'm broke. Oh, that sucks. Well, why does it suck? Well, does it really suck? Oh, it sucks because I've decided that it sucks inside my own mind. And I have the power to say, you know what? It doesn't suck. It's great because here is a great opportunity for me to go from broke to not broke. And if I wasn't broke, I could never have that journey. I could never go from not broke or from broke to not broke because I'm not broke. So it's great. It doesn't suck. And then plan, okay? And I think a big part of what people really fail in this planning is coming up with, for me, I label it in our company, I label it OCI, to come up with your minimum operational costs that you need as a human to survive. Because once you can generate that amount of revenue, you could say goodbye to your job. Now, you have to have a mindset where you're like, okay, hey, most likely I'm still going to be broke because I'm coming up with the minimum amount, which means this is the minimum amount I need to survive. So I have no money left over. I'm broke, but I'm sheltered. I have clothes on. I'm eating, and I have the tools that I need to grow my actual own business. Then be prepared to fucking spend a lot of time learning shit. And if you can, and if you can't, then you calculated that first variable wrong, because you have to be able to spend money in your business and invest in your business. And I think a lot of people, what they fuck up is, dude, are you into crypto at all?
Not really.
So I think a lot of people have these crypto mindsets. I love crypto myself, but I think there's a whole bunch of people in the crypto space that they want to call themselves investors, but they're not actually investors. They're stupid as fuck. They take $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 and they spend that money as a consumer buying a moonshot, hoping that they're going to actually get rich, but they don't actually know what they're buying. They don't have any actual information and they're not prepared to do anything other than spend the $100 and hope shit goes to the moon, which is not actually an investment. And I think a lot of people, when it comes into the entrepreneurial space, they look at investments like this as well. Like, oh, well, I'm going to get this course or I'm going to get this mentor and I made an investment. And then they stop at spending the money and paying for the thing. And they never made the investment because in the first place, they never actually did any due diligence to find out, is this a good course? Is this a good mentor? Is it actually going to help me? And then they skipped that entire process. They just made the transaction. And then after making the transaction, they didn't actually invest any actual time and utilize the thing that they needed to actually get where they were actually going. So be prepared for that because you have to invest, and you have to invest not only your money, but your time and your energy and do it. And I think that's actually a perfect blueprint, and keep doing that consistently.
One thing that actually stuck in my mind, like when John said that leverage your time, especially if you are working, right? You are working at a 9-to-5 job. And I often hear this from other people who is into this 9-to-5 space that, oh, I don't have time to work.
I don't have time.
Oh, I don't have time. But we all
I don't have time. I don't have any money.
Yeah, we all have 24 hours, right? So one thing that when you say that, hey, first find out an opportunity that you think you can work on, and then have a plan to put at least an hour, use that hour, or at least sit for an hour or 2 hours and just do the things that you need to do to get out of that life that you want to get out from, right? I mean, It doesn't really matter what we do from 9 to 5. It all comes down to what you do outside of your 9 to 5. How you leveraging time when you are actually home, right? What you are doing. Are you watching Netflix? Are you doing the worthless shit that is not going to actually help you with your situation? What are you spending your time at? One of the key takeaways from today's slide, I would say for me,
a lot of it really comes into the category of like mindset, right? So like the mindset of like I don't have enough time because I'm too busy, because I've got a job and I've got a girlfriend and a boyfriend and I've got a dog, and that's just excuses. That's just mindset. It's just mindset thing. Your attitude towards failure, whether you decide, whether it makes you feel like you want to quit and you give up very easily, or whether it makes you stronger and makes you keep going, that's a mindset thing. The ability to embrace the journey and appreciate all the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and enjoy that process, that's a mindset thing. And I think, and it's really funny actually, when I started this journey and I started to invest in courses and programs to learn business and marketing and all this stuff, a lot of them, just like John said, they'd open with this first chapter of the course, and it would be about mindset and about reprogramming your mindset. And at that time, when I was just starting out, I was just like, oh, what's all this?
This is so silly.
Yeah.
What's this like silly, like spiritual shit that we're, like, just give me tell me how to make a Facebook ad.
Where's my paycheck?
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was absolute rubbish. But fast forward 5 years, and I look back now and I realized that that's probably the biggest thing that's holding people back, that's going to make someone successful. It's the biggest contributor to success, is really like what's going on up here. And if you can like tweak that and like dial that in, anything's possible. You can find, like you said, you can find an hour or 2 or 3 a day. When you're sitting on the toilet, do something on your phone, man. Like, honestly, there's another 10 minutes. Do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly. So yeah, get up an hour. We could all get up an hour earlier. Easy. Like, I'm not saying, there's a lot of these millionaire, gurus that talk about getting up at 2 a.m, running 100 miles, having an ice bath.
No.
You don't need to do that. But we can all get up an hour early, right? And if you do an hour a day extra over the course of 7 days, over the course of a week, that's 7 hours. Yeah. That's the equivalent of an extra day of work, right? So now you're doing 8 days in 7 days. And over the course of a month, that's an extra 4 days a week that you're putting in over somebody else, right? That's not doing anything. So you can find time, and even if you can just find a little bit of time, it's going to make a difference, and you are going to move towards like your goals. But really comes down to your mindset, you know. Absolutely, I think.
I want to ask you one more question because it comes from one of our viewers. It comes from True Lane. He's actually in our elite program. He's someone who pays us like $1,000 a month to be in our elite program, so he can basically, instead of having to sell his time for money, he could just sell usernames and passwords and build up recurring revenue. But we were talking about earlier, you know, the difference between these 9-to-5ers, not that there's anything wrong with them, and these entrepreneur type people who are like, yeah, fuck that, I'm gonna build my own. And I think he's referring to that because his question was, but doesn't the world need those people? Everyone can't be exceptional. So I'm assuming that he's talking about the world needs these 9-to-5ers, the burger flippers, the fry makers, the people who hate their job, but they still keep doing it, because everybody can't go out and actually be exceptional. So what do you think about that? You think that's true or not?
Obviously, if we didn't have people, you know, cleaning the streets, if you didn't have people working in like hospitals, if you didn't have waitresses and waiters in restaurants, the world just wouldn't function. Absolutely. Now that could be a stepping stone to something else. You know, you could be on your entrepreneurial journey, and, you know, 5 years prior to you starting your business, you could have done that. It could be like a stepping stone to something better. Like that could be a thing. I think what I think is that we are all here's what I think. So what I think is this. I think at the very least, if everyone in the world could have the mindset that they are in control of their own destiny, and have people be inquisitive about what life has to offer, I think that the world would be a better place, and that there would be some people out there that choose to carry on with their life like how it is. But as long as they know and they're aware that there's more out there, and that's the choice that they make, then that's absolutely cool. There could be people out there like myself, you know, that spend years working in a place they weren't happy about. But it just takes time, right, to find yourself and understand yourself and understand things, to get some clarity on life and understand where you want to take it and what direction you want to go in. I think for me, the big problem with the world right now is we live in a world of complacency. We live in a world where people are lazy, where people have things quite easily, people get comfortable. Yeah, people don't take responsibility for their own actions in their own life. And I feel like if we could just like educate the world, which is what we're doing on this video and what you guys do every day with your content and stuff like that, that actually you are in control of your life. You are able to change things and give people and empower people to make better choices and to be able to go on the journey of life. And whatever that journey ends up being, whether you're still flipping burgers at the age of 65, that's cool. But as long as people have more awareness, I think that'd be a beautiful thing.
Here's my answer for you, True Lane. I think this mentality and this philosophy, it comes from the big bad wolf of I think it comes from those fuckers from behind the curtains with the fucking little pyramid, the Illuminati, the people in control. I think it's a fucked up message. I think it's a fucked up society and mentality that we live in on the aggregate as humanity, that we believe that we can't build fucking amazing AI and we can't build robots because it's going to put these low-class people out of fucking jobs, and they have to actually do that, and it's going to fuck up our economy, and that everybody can't be exceptional, because I think we could. And I think that for our society to work as it does now and operate as it does now, sure, we can't, but I think our current society is fucked up and it's still at the level of fucking monkeys, and that if we all were actual exceptional and we all did have this ideal that, hey, we could all be exceptional, that our society would be completely fucking different and we could really do great things as humanity. All right. With that being said, if we're going to continue to actually live in this fucked up society, and we need those people, and not everybody can be exceptional, I would much rather not be one of the non-exceptional people. I would much rather myself be one of the exceptional people than one of the non-exceptional people, and say, hey, we need those people, but that's not going to be me. That's going to be them. I'm going to be one of these other people. Yep. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, or in our membership site, somewhere, someplace, you can actually look around here, up to the top, down to the bottom, somewhere in this general area over here, you will find links where you can get more information about John, more information about his products and services, and get right into his motherfucking ecosystem if you want to actually be inside his ecosystem.
So to wrap it up, let us know that how can we actually find you? And
They click the link.
Yeah, I mean, we want to know what is offered too. Like, what do you promote? What is your offer?
So yeah, so if you're watching this and you happen to own a floor cleaning or a carpet cleaning business and you want more jobs and all the rest of it, add me as a friend. I've been tagged in on this post, so add me as a friend, shoot me a message, and then we can have a chat, get you booked in for a call. If you're a marketer, if you are in the agency space, if you want some entrepreneurial mentorship or anything like that, hit me up, add me as a friend, and we can have a chat.
If you are a marketer, I know it sucks. I know it's depressing. Please don't kill yourself. It's okay that you're just a marketer, so don't feel bad. Stay alive.
Stay alive. It was great having you. We learned so many things and we spent a good amount of time, and we enjoyed. So I hope to be in touch with you and catch you soon.
If you're ever in London, guys, hit me up. Let's go out and party for sure.
For sure.
Sure.
See you, man. Great talking to you. Great meeting you.
Bye.